so far. Did I take your straw?
No, I have it in my pocket. So what's going on here? There we are. Ooh, sunlight's a little bright. Got a bit of light coming through there. Okay. Okay, so we are live. And I don't know if there's anybody else on here yet. Give everybody a few minutes, see if we get anybody. Oh, Catherine's here. Hi, Catherine. And Cindy's here. As you can see, we are celebrating Pride Weekend because it is Pride Weekend here in Toronto, and we're sitting underneath our deck. Hope you can hear us okay and see us okay. Let us know how we sound. Should be okay. It's a nice warm day here today, so we thought we would do it in this new location. Cindy says yes to both. Okay, great. So we'll just give everybody else a few minutes here. Oh, Phyllis is here. Hi, Phyllis. Phyllis says the sound is fine. Catherine says sounds good. Okay, that's great. So here we are. As I said, it is Pride Weekend in Toronto. So you can see that we are drinking from our festive Pride glasses. What are we drinking?
Walter's Hard Lemonade.
Oh, and what is in Walter's Hard Lemonade?
Lemons and limes and vodka and triple sec.
Okay.
And sweetener.
Oh, and sweetener. Oh. Yeah, that's good. The
A
sweetener.
little bit of agave, which we had left. I forgot to buy some more.
Hi, Julie.
And some stevia.
Yeah.
Just low-cal, too.
Yeah, right. Right. That's why we're eating celery sticks with cheese whiz on them and carrots. So, got a few people here, so we'll see from what's happening. Before we get into today's topic, let me swallow my carrot. So what's been happening? Update on my mother, nothing much new there. She's still waiting for her new teeth. They'll probably come in another week, something like that. So yeah, everything's about normal. Tried to call her this afternoon, but she never answered her phone, so she's either out partying away in the home, which I doubt, or the phone's out of her reach. That happens. The phone will be like 2 feet away from her hand, and she goes, "Oh, I can't reach it. I can't reach it." So, my mother's not that decrepit. Oh, here comes an airplane.
These chairs are not the best for my stomach.
I was thinking that's not. Camera
Not
puts
flattering.
Camera puts 10 pounds more on you, so I'll just hold the clipboard like this. Cough. Oh, Preesi's here. Hi, Preesi. So anyways, speaking of Preesi sent us some links to some interesting articles which dealt with some of the topics we've talked about on past lives. I found them really, really interesting, and if I get a chance, I'll try and post them. The links, if Preesi doesn't mind. You okay with that, Preesi? Her blog is really interesting, that she wrote about sexual identification and things like that. I found it very informative and very educational. So I'll try and remember to post a link for that. Probably won't be in the live. I'll probably have to post it in my blog. Preesi says okay. And Phil says, FYI, Steve, your leg looks huge, too close to the camera compared to the rest of you. Walter is okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I kind of see that. Oh, okay. Well, it's just my leg. Yeah. Thanks, Phyllis, for the tip. Okay, so what else? You had a sewing class this week.
Yeah.
So that's your second one for this disappearing 9 patch,
Yeah.
isn't it? And how's that going?
Good. I made all my blocks.
You made all your blacks.
Blocks.
Oh, blocks.
For
That's
it.
it.
I should have brought one down.
Yeah, you should have. Show people. Well, go get one and bring it down, and I'll eat celery while you're doing that. Gee, suddenly we didn't have any airplanes all afternoon. Now we've got a ton of them. We live very close to the airport. Fred Flintstone. Yeah, right. Thanks, Preesi. Whatever. Probably not the most flattering lighting on me. What this area is here, and I think we did a broadcast under here one other time. This is where we have our hot tub. And it's underneath, it's actually, ooh, I've got cheese on me. It's actually underneath our deck. And it's all enclosed under here, and it's waterproof as well. But it's all screen over on this side, and that's where the sun, we're getting the afternoon sun, and it's coming in. That's why you're getting this on my head. And I can't do a lot about it. You don't have blinds there, but whatever. Walter's gone to get his block to show you. So while he's doing that, Walter got up early this morning. And when I say early, it was early for Walter. I think he was up at about 7:30 because he wanted to put a coat of stain on the deck above us. And he did that, so that's done. It was just a touch-up kind of a thing that he was doing. Hi, Carol. So, here he comes with his block. So show everybody your 9-patch block. There it is. This is a sort of a beginner's class, but then
So what happens is just afterwards you cut the fabric down this way and that way, and you spin them around and make different pattern than this. So I'm advanced. I wasn't. If I had time, I was supposed to do all my blocks, so I already did them.
Okay. All advanced. All right. What, you're leaving again?
No, I'm just putting it in here.
Why, you afraid a bug will eat it?
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, put it here in case you want to show it again.
Carol says, corners meeting great, Walter. Yes, he's been very careful about getting his seams straight on all of this. So that's that. We took a long arm class this week, the certification class. So Tuesday of this week, I'm taking in one of my quilts, and I'm going to long arm quilt it using something called pantographs. Pantographs are basically what, a pattern?
A way that you can sort of trace a pattern.
Yeah, you kind of trace a pattern. So you're not doing it free motion. You're kind of behind the machine, and there's a laser light shines down on this pattern, and you follow it around, sort of tracing. But meanwhile, your needle on the other side is doing all the stitching and everything. So actually, it was a good course. We actually signed up for a boot camp in September, which is a 2-day intensive workshop on doing free motion quilting on a long arm with this same lady. It's kind of pricey. It's like $425 a piece, but it is 2 full days. Plus, she throws in lunch.
Yeah, they give you lunch and everything.
And everything too. So it's supposed to be really good. Carol says, exciting, Stephen, not free, but good practice. Yeah, exactly. And Phyllis says, cool idea about cutting and turning your block, Walter. Yeah, it's called a disappearing 9-patch.
Yeah, what I showed you was a 9-patch, and then by cutting it the way and you're spinning it, it makes a completely different pattern, but it's standard pattern, I guess.
So it'll make the colors he's picked out are a little bold, but I think it's gonna look really nice when it's done. I mean, go bold or go home, I guess. Anyways, oh, Andy's here. Hi, Andy. So, just on another thing too. Now, this morning, I don't think there's anybody on here that caught that. There's only a couple of you. I tried again to do a live using my setup in my sewing room, and actually it was fairly successful, although I did notice that the delay between what I see and what you see is a lot greater than the delay we have on this system we're using here. And we're doing it again on our iPhone right now. But anyways, that's up, and I did show my Australian fabrics, and I showed an applique. my first applique, which was a Australian pattern that we bought when we were in Australia. And actually, I think I have found a new love. Everybody tells me that once you try applique, you're going to love it. And yeah, I kind of do like it.
So everybody's probably trying to figure out why I'm looking at the ceiling.
Why are you looking at the ceiling?
I wanted to see if they'd had too many paint splatters come down.
Oh, I thought you were looking for the squirrel.
No.
No. We have a squirrel that likes to winter in here, in between our
I haven't heard
deck
from
boards
him.
and the cupboard. No. Well, he's probably not up there now.
No.
But anyway, so.
Especially after I painted the deck
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Well, he might come out all spotted after that. So, anyways, guess what, people? You know the problems I've been having with Facebook. Guess what happened this morning? I got locked out of my account again. So this time I truly am done with Facebook. And the thing is, upon analyzing it, we've been talking about how this is happening. At first we thought we were being hacked, but we're thinking it's more or less a memory leak or something at Facebook's end. And of course, Facebook's absolutely no help with any of this. You can't contact anybody. You can't.
I think it's a problem with some of their programming,
Yeah.
actually.
So I've given it up. I'm not doing Facebook. Period. I'm not going through this hell again. I mean, that's
Because you
3
said it's
times.
like the same guy that's...
Yeah, it's the same
coming in.
one. He's changing my thing, so I don't know what that's all about. Or how he's getting into it, because I changed the password.
Yeah, change the password, and then on top of that, you put in security so that
Yeah.
you had two authentication.
Yeah, plus I had trusted friends, and neither one you can get into.
Mhm.
You're disabled. It's completely useless. So I am trying something new. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it tomorrow on my vlog. But I do have a blog, B-L-O-G. I haven't used it since 2015. I think I'm going to use it again. I put some new content up on it today, and I will have the URL in my vlog tomorrow for connecting to it if you want to take a look at it. And I think that's where I'm going to basically just show what I'm working on and, you know, pictures of my quilts, maybe some other stuff. I don't know. Sort of my way of doing my own Facebook in a sense. But we'll see how long that lasts. So anyways, that's a thrill. Newsworthy. Well, our premier has shuffled his cabinet. So basically, he replaced the old assholes with new assholes.
Yeah, they move the assholes around.
Well, they moved the assholes around. And yeah, everybody is making all kinds of predictions as to some of these cabinet ministers got
Well, actually, what
demotion.
they seem to do is you demoted a lot of the women and replaced
Yes.
them with men.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. And that's typical Ford anyways. And the Conservative Party anyways is extremely sexist. So yeah, they replaced a whole bunch of the women in the cabinet with men. And they replaced the Minister of Education, which is the two ministries that are probably the most important and volatile, are health and education. So they replaced the female, who was an idiot, but they're conservatives, they're all idiots, with a young guy. He's 32 years old. I've got underwear older than him, as the new education minister. Well, all the teachers' contracts end at the end of August. And of course there is going to be threats of strike action and things like that, because that's the only way they're going to make the government listen to them, as they strip or take away the cap on class sizes, get rid of teachers, educational assistants, cut the funding, the whole bit with this. If they don't think they're going to have a fight on their hands, they're sadly mistaken. And the teachers' unions are extremely strong. This isn't their first rodeo. They know what they're doing. So they put this kid, literally a kid, into this position. And he's already talking about how he's trying to keep the channels of communication open and all this stuff. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. He has no idea what he's up against. He's up against people in the union, the executive of the unions, that have been through this with various premiers over the years, well-seasoned professionals that know what they're doing. So I suspect that come the 1st of September, a school will go in September because there's a process that has to be followed before you can actually have a strike. I know, I've lived through them before. And that doesn't just happen overnight. And usually it's a last ditch effort anyways, because the teachers don't want to go on strike either. But that's what they have to do to get this government to pay attention to everything, so that's what they'll do. But the government will just go in and legislate them back to work anyways, but there's other things the unions and the teachers can do to fight them. And it's happened in the past, and it'll happen in the future, and they will lose. This government will lose because they have no idea what they're up against at all. You know, you think they would learn from past governments.
Well, you know what? They always
don't.
figure that they see the mistakes of the previous governments and they say, well, why don't they just do this? Why don't they just force it through?
Yeah.
Or something. You know, they think they can do it better.
Mm-hmm. Andy says the women were probably too smart. No, they were conservatives. They were just as dumb as the men, I'm sorry to say. In fact, the two of the women that they removed from it, they really were stupid. They really were stupid. But I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying the men's replacements are any better.
No, any better. Just the whole party, everybody that's in it, they're just stupid. You know, just that's the way they are. Carol says, had to look that. Oh, wait. Andy says, poor kid, this job will define his future and career. Oh, yeah, it'll be a career crusher, because he has no idea. No idea. Andy says, are we talking Betsy DeVos stupid? I don't know who Betsy DeVos is. Is she someone in the American system? Put it this way, they're Trump stupid. So there you go. Praise to Steve, I've been writing a post about why white women voted for Trump. It will explain this. Okay, well, send me the link to that when you get it done, Preesi. I'd be interested in reading it.
That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. Andy says she's our Secretary of Education. Yeah, I haven't followed that on the American scene, but yeah. Well, quite frankly, most of the education ministers they've ever had are stupid. Because
one of the assistants of the education system right now, if he's still there, is that Sam Osterhoff or whatever, and he was homeschooled his whole life.
Yeah, what does they know about the education system? He was homeschooled, and he's like something like 20-something. And he's a far-right conservative thinking, evangelistic background, the whole bit.
Anti-gay,
oh yeah,
anti-abortion.
Everything. Andy says, Preesi, please send to all of us. I sure would like to know. Yeah, well, actually, if Preesi, if you send me the link, I can put it in the show notes or whatever so everybody can take a look at it. Phyllis says she's all for getting rid of decent public schools and backing for the profit schools. Yeah, well, that's not that unlike here. Chris is here. Hi, Chris. Did you get some sleep, Chris? Chris and I were talking earlier, but of course she's in Australia. So when we were talking to her, it was very, very late at night. And it's probably very, very early Monday morning right now over there. So anyways, yeah, that's the news on the front here now. So let's go to our theme of the week. And our theme of the week is ageism. What is ageism? Well, basically, in its simplest format, ageism is discrimination against people after they become a certain age. And I just had an incident this afternoon. I got a call from one of those surveys for something, and they asked me if there was anybody, well, they asked me initially whether or not I was on a landline or a cell phone when I got the call. I said landline. Then they said, well, do you have a cell phone and do you use it? And I said, yes, I have a cell phone and I use it as well. What age bracket do you fall into? And of course they give you the, 0 to 12, 13 to 52, whatever. So I wait until they get to 55 to 65 or 54 to 65, whatever that is. And I said, yes, that's me. And then she turned around and said, well, is there anyone in your household between the ages of 18 and 34? And I said, no. She says, Oh, okay, well, we need to do a survey with somebody like that. Thank you for your time.
You
Goodbye.
should have asked that the first question. That always annoys me.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I do these online surveys every once in a while as well. And
Well,
I'll
just to finish my thought,
Okay, go
maybe
ahead.
that. So, and then she hung up, and I thought, there's an example of ageism. Obviously, they were targeting a certain group. When she asked about the cell phone bits, she probably figures I don't know how to use a cell phone because, at 61, we are so decrepit, aren't we? Really. So, anyways, what were you going to say about the
Well,
survey?
I do these online surveys every once in a while, and they go through a whole raft of questions, and then all of a sudden they say, "How old are you?" I put in, "I'm 61," and then all of a sudden, "Thanks, but no thanks. You don't fit our demographics."
And
Right?
you've gotten that more than one.
I got that a lot. If I put in an age group that's below 60, like I just lie about it, lie about my age, and say something younger, then I go through the survey. So.
I
As soon as
mean,
you're over 60, they don't even want to talk to you. So
no, basically, they figure after 60, there's no life, you should be dead. And so that's basically what ageism is in a simplified format, I think. Anyways, we thought we'd talk a little bit about this because, one, we experience it all the time, and it is a form of discrimination. And two, I know that a lot of the people that watch us on live are kind of in the same boat. I imagine the average age of the people who watch us are probably anywhere between 50 and up. And so I'm sure everybody has experienced this in one form or another. So we're just going to talk a little bit about this.
yeah, like Sudicue says, I don't get it. We older people are the ones with the money.
Yeah,
It's the kids 18 to 35 who are paying 60K in college
$60,000
loans.
college loans. You have trouble reading?
I have trouble seeing some.
See, if you were younger,
Yeah, I know.
is that ageism?
College loans and living with their parents. Yeah, I know about that.
Phil says, "Oh God, I'm in trouble. I'm 83." Well, Jesus, Phyllis, shouldn't you be dead? I mean, really, according to these young people, we're just on borrowed time at 60. That's ancient for them. They want to know whether or not we used to have pet dinosaurs. And when we went to school, did we use a chisel and a tablet? What?
No, I actually walked to school. Not like the ones the kids.
Yeah,
do.
yeah. I used to walk to school up, what was it, uphill both ways, 50 miles in the winter. Yeah. So, anyways, that's the whole problem with ageism because it's all geared towards younger people. Now, I said to Walter after that call too, and this is dovetails on what Andy is saying about the age thing. Yeah, they should think about this. This was, she said they were just doing a survey about innovative products or something. Okay, who buys the innovative products? Well, first of all, innovative products, unless they come from the dollar store or Wish list, or Wish, whatever they call that site with all the cheap Chinese stuff on it, we're the people at this age group that probably are bigger consumers. Well, why is that? Well, one, we're established in our careers. I mean, from about 40 plus, I would say those are the people you want to talk to about consumer products because they probably are in a financial bracket where they can afford to buy these
Well, mind
things.
you, we probably aren't buying fashion items like the kids are.
No, that's probably true. We're probably not buying the high fashion, and well, mainly because everything's slim fit. Not going to work on my classic. With it, under this light and the way I'm sitting in this chair, makes me look even more of a classic. But anyways, but what I'm saying is we're established in our careers. We've probably had some promotions in our career, so we're probably making a little bit more money. We're probably better with our money. Our student loans are probably paid off. I mean, yes, there's lots of people in our age bracket that are in debt to their ears for one thing or not. But I would think, generally speaking, I think we're the people with the money. So you should be talking to us. The age demographic this woman on the survey is going for 18 to 34. Well, let's see. Unless they're
Well,
getting
no, unless
an allowance.
unless you're a parent and you're buying stuff for them.
Yeah. So, anyways, that is a form of ageism. But I'm moving off the topic here. Let's get back on. First of all, everything in this world, I think we can all agree, is geared towards young people. Okay. Like, for example, today is the big Pride Parade, the annual Pride Parade, the biggest one in possibly North America.
I think New York is pretty close to
Yeah, I mean, there's 2.3 million people right now, estimate, downtown Toronto. We just watched part of it on TV. It's just a zoo. That's why we're not there. We used to go, but it's just a zoo.
We used to go when there's only like 5 people.
Yeah, yeah. Back in the '80s when they first got them started,
And
doing this.
it was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, yeah. It was one short block. Now it runs for hours from one end of Yonge Street to the next end of Yonge Street in downtown Toronto. That's a long.
And it's
route.
become very political and everything else, and it's gotten to the point where we just don't feel
comfortable. But
yeah.
another reason we don't feel comfortable beyond the fact that the majority of the crowd are made up of straight people. And they're all there because, oh yeah, they're all allies and that. No, they're not. They're there for the show, for the party. It's simple as that. Yeah, some of them are allies, but a lot of them are just there. They bring their baby carriages. They have their kids. I'm getting blinded by the light. The sun's just set enough now to go right in here, burn off my head. They bring their kids in strollers. They push their way to the front to see all this stuff. I mean, I feel sorry for these little kids because they're cramped in there. It's shoulder to shoulder. And today is a nice day and it's warm.
It's hot.
It's hot. So there you are, a whole bunch of smelly, sweaty people. Of course, in the parade itself, one of the complaints of the parade is that there's all these guys with their half naked in there and women too, because in Ontario, you actually can go topless.
If you're a woman.
If you're a woman. It's not against the law. In fact, it's actually protected in the law. Okay? In Canada, we do
don't see too many women.
Well, you don't see them walking around going to the Eaton Center or something shopping with their tops off. But during the parade...
No shirt, no shoes, no...
Yeah, no shirt, no shoes, no service. But you will see that in the parade. And then there's a group of guys who just walk down the street. They're called Totally Naked Toronto or something like this. And, well...
They're nudists.
And they're not
They're
pretty.
not...
They actually go against the ageism thing. Or actually, maybe they're spreading.
Well, I'll give them credit. They've got a lot of nerve. So
yeah. Well, maybe not a lot of brains, but a lot of nerve. But anyways, it's all geared towards the youth, and that's in the gay world, and it's very heavily youth. But it's still the same in the straight world. For example, I remember several years ago now, I walked into a Gap, the clothing store. And this young 20-something walked up to me and gave me this look like, what are you doing here? We have nothing in here you could possibly want. And then he said, can I help you find something? And that's how he said it. And I went, no, I don't like anything in here. And I walked out. Well, no, I couldn't have worn anything from that store. And I think I've mentioned it before. When we go shopping for clothes, it's usually Mark's Work Warehouse because nothing else.
That's a Canadian place. So.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing else that fits us because everything is slim fit.
But even in Mark's Work Warehouse, there's a lot of shirts that are slim fit now and stuff like that, which I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be a place where people buy work clothes.
Yeah, really. Like they go to sizes like 2XL. And stuff like that. I am not wearing a 2XL. But, it's that age thing. And it's all geared towards, like, there's nothing sadder, I think, than a man my age trying to look like he's 40 years younger. Because it never works. There's guys that get to a certain age, I think it's a midlife crisis. And they have, because society says you're not important, you are not visible, you're not worth the time of other people, unless you look young and do young things. So get your hair dyed, put on a spray tan, and hop on a zip line. And don't worry about breaking a hip with it, kind of a thing. Because otherwise you're just old fart. And, and they also consider us stupid. Like we're all drooling. I mean, really. I was a teacher. You want to talk about stupid people. Okay, I saw them every day. They were called my students. And some of
Stupid
them,
children.
they were stupid. And they're stupid adults now, because I have seen some of them years later, and they are still just stupid. So, and yeah, there's lots of old people that are stupid too, but I mean, to lump everybody into that category as being decrepit and stupid, I don't think so. Preesi says, uh, or Andy says, wait, back up here.
P.S. Lousy drivers, though.
Well, it says, Preesi says, older people are thrifty, younger generation generate revenue. I'm not sure what that means. Older people are thrifty. No, I don't think older people are thrifty. I think, they might be a little bit more clever with their money. You would hope so. But I know lots of older people in our age group that aren't that great with money and should be a little bit more thrifty, actually. Younger generation, younger generate revenue. Oh, I think I see what you mean. In other words, the consumers, the larger consumer group is probably younger people. I don't know if that's true. Younger people spend money, but they spend money on smaller ticket items. What I mean by that is they spend it on clothing, they spend it on entertainment, that kind of thing. I think older people might buy the bigger ticket items like a house, a car, cruises, nice
travel.
trips. Yeah, and travel and things like that.
And yeah, more consumer products. You spend a lot on material for.
Well, yeah, but you see, but I can do that. On Friday, I walked into Ultimate Sewing and I dropped $250 on fabric. Okay. Now, I'm not rich. I'm on a pension, but I'm also haven't been stupid with my money over the years either. And really, I needed it. It's simple. I needed it. I had to buy it. But I'm not in debt for it. Now, younger people are. This is their.
Well, see, they don't really care. The people that are selling stuff don't really care what debt load you are.
Well, no.
As long as you're buying stuff.
Yeah. And, but what I mean with younger people is they have a different attitude towards credit, I think, than maybe our generation does. Although, again, there's always exceptions to all of this.
You're looking at it from your point of view. I think there's lots of people that are in debt because they...
Well, okay, I'm thinking about when I was 20-something. When I got my first job, my first teaching job, I had a credit card. I used it. I would go and I would buy a record, an album, okay? That's how long ago it was. It was a record. It may have cost $5 and something. I used my credit card. Now, I had the money in my pocket, but I used my credit card. And every Friday night and Saturday night, I'd go out with some other younger teacher friends too, and we'd go and eat and booze it up and entertainment, put it all on the credit card. And yeah, before long, I was in debt until I got control of that. But you see, I thought everybody else was doing that too, all the people I knew when I was in my 20s, so it was easy to ring it up. I've learned from the error of my ways, and maybe these young people will too. But I know, when your nephew went to university,
Yeah.
didn't he rack it up on those?
He had student loans.
He had student loans, but he also, but the way they did the meal plans now, when I went to university, we had a meal plan, but you ate in the cafeteria at the university, kind of a thing. Now, I guess what they have is they have these meal plans too, but they're like credit cards, and so you can go to popular restaurants in the city that your university's in and rack it up pretty quick.
Well, I don't know if my nephew did that, but I know a lady.
Well, I don't know if he racked it up.
I know a lady I used to work with was
Yeah.
ticked off at her son because he was going to mainstream restaurants all the time and eating at and using up his meal ticket, and so it was running out quick. So
Yeah.
Sudoku says, my sister Janine says that she thinks older people spend money on experiences and younger people spend their money on
money to fit in.
Yeah.
I think you should spend some of your money on a literacy class too.
Oh, let's go to that.
Reading to
Go
go
to
to hell. Maybe that's the other thing about old people. They can't. Must be your eyesight.
Crotchety, yeah.
Yeah, crotchety for sure. Phyllis says, I refer to Michigan drivers being lousy and don't poke along. The younger drivers don't know the rules of the road unless a policeman is watching. Yeah, I think that's true too, but I think too, sometimes as you get older, maybe you slow down a little bit because of your eyesight. I don't know. But kind of diverting here from what we're talking about. So I guess what I'm saying is there's an outlook on life that's different from when you were 20 something and when you're 60 plus something. I would like to think that that's wisdom that comes with age. But you know, young people, if you're over 40, you're over the hill, you don't know what you're talking about. Like that one thing, young people assume that we can't use technology. And that's like that call I got today on the survey. And I could hear it in her voice. Although it was hard to understand her because she did have a bit of an accent, you know what I mean? I thought it might have been for duck cleaning at first. But it was this, are you on a landline or a cell phone? And I said landline. And there was a bit of a pause. Do you own a cell phone and do you use it? I think she was prepared for me to say, no, I don't know what a cell phone is. I wouldn't know how to use one if I had it. Yeah, right, no, I do. I mean, if you look at the technology that we have in the house, I'm just like, the sun is right cutting me right in half. We have so much bloody technology in this house that it's becoming like a pain in the butt, really, because, you know, technology will fail when you need it. But we learn how to adapt and to use these things. And I know people that are 20 years older than me who use cell phone, the computer, their iPads, you know, all that stuff, no problem. What's being said here? Oh, hi, Mel. Chris says, when I was younger, we respected the older generations and understood what they had wisdom we could learn from. I don't necessarily think I did.
Thought they were old people, right?
Yeah, because, you know, I was pretty much like these buggers are today. When I was in my mid-20s and that, when we had first met and everything like that, and there was a group of people we used to hang out with and we'd go out, I guess the term would be today clubbing. We didn't call it clubbing, we went out dancing, we went to some bars. And I do remember on more than one occasion when there was older people in the place we were in, and we'd walk in and we thought we were the bee's knees and we sucked all the oxygen out of the room, and these people might have been 40. And we just looked at them and figured they were just old farts, what are they doing here? So, you know, we were guilty of the stuff I'm now complaining about with these young people as well. I'm not really complaining about the young people per se. I'm complaining about the way our society perceives young people and older people. Everything's geared towards the young. Look at a television commercial. They're all body beautifuls. It's all products for younger people. When they show anything for somebody's aging,
they don't show any Depends commercials.
No, they don't see a lot. And when they do, they make them sound like they're fashionable. And that you're going to look younger because you're wearing Depends. Because they're slim fitting. Maybe I should get some. I don't know. But anyways, what's else on my list? Okay. So moving on, then let's talk about for people with children. It's great to be a grandparent, okay? And I know every time I go to a sewing class, we hear all about people's, as they call them, grandbabies. That term, grandbabies, I don't know why that rubs me the wrong way.
Is there something I have to do to get
What?
messages because my messages disappeared?
Well, I don't know what you did. I don't know why your messages, you were probably playing with something.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, well, do you see the thing that says live chat? Underneath the screen?
Stephen and Walter live, that's all I see.
You don't see.
Oh, there, live chat, okay.
Click on that.
Yeah,
there
alright,
you
got
go.
that.
Okay.
Speaking of old people, lady.
Yeah, really. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up here. Chris says, today it seems that we are looked at like we are wasting younger people's times and in their way. Yeah. And Phyllis says, watch out for these calls. Don't bother with them. If you respond, your number goes on a call list and you'll get more calls. Yeah, I know. And Andy says, now that I'm in my later 60s, I realize I have more of my life behind me instead of ahead of me, so my perspective of what's important has changed. And Phil says, I agree with that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is philosophy about life. You know, when you're young, you're going to live forever. It's you're invulnerable. You're you're with it the whole bit. Yeah, and then one day they're going to wake up and find out, oh, as you said, we're a little closer to the grave than we are to birth, and all of that. And I think that's just a natural progression of life, I guess. Well, not guess, it is. But nevertheless, our society, through advertising, through entertainment choices, through every kind of thing else, they all are dedicated towards younger people or living a young person's lifestyle. I mean, how many times have you heard the expression, when people turn 50, 50 is the new 40? I say 60 is the new 30, but whatever. In reality is it's not.
Actually, I think they're overlooking a huge market.
Yeah. I really think, yeah, you're right. They are overlooking a huge market. I mean, with the exception of probably the funeral business, there's a whole lot of other ones that they don't target us for things. They target the young people who don't know any better with it. I don't know. But it's philosophy. But I suppose.
I mean, for years and years and years, they didn't target the gay population. They were afraid to advertise in
Yes.
gay situations because they were afraid they'd be ostracized by everybody else, right? So they left that market alone. Now they're going like nuts, capitalizing on the gay market because
Yep.
they realize that gay people tend to
Have more disposable income.
yeah, but they're not now. They're overlooking the older crowd because they're. I don't know why, but they don't seem to feel that it's worth pursuing.
Well,
Or maybe we're too set in our ways and we just buy whatever we.
well, look at the
buy.
last few cruises we've been on, and look at the average age that have been on those
Yeah.
cruises. I mean, somebody joked once, "Oh, you're going on a celebrity cruise? Count the number of walkers in the hallway."
Mm.
And actually, it was true, but it wasn't that bad. What I thought was, okay, they might have a walker, but they're on a cruise. They're not saying, "Oh God, I can't do anything." Like my mother, I can't do anything for myself anymore because I'm old. I mean, if you give into that mentality, then you won't do anything. I'm pretty sure of that. Maybe we have a different outlook on that because we are gay and because we don't have children, because there's nobody to look after us in our old age. We have to look after ourselves. So maybe that's why we do the things that we do, because we have to keep moving. My mother shut right down. Simple as that. We've talked about that before. So I don't know, but I admire these people, even though I think it's foolish that, like, remember when we were in Athens and we had to climb up to get to that, was it the Acropolis?
The Acropolis, yeah.
And we had to go up a steep, steep hill. It was almost like climbing a mountain, and it was really rough terrain. And if you were somebody that had walking disabilities, you wouldn't have been able to get up there very well at all. We get to the top, and there's an empty wheelchair. And all I could think of was, one, how did they get a person up here on a wheelchair? There aren't any ramps. There aren't any elevators, escalators, nothing. And then I'm thinking, and once they got them up here, why isn't there a person in that wheelchair? What'd they do? Push them over the edge, kind of a thing. I just thought that was kind of weird. But I have to admit, these people I find an inspiration. When I see older people out and about, and they might have a cane, they might have a walker, they might even be in a wheelchair or an electric scooter or whatever, I kind of admire them because they are keeping themselves going. So maybe they've got some health problems, yes, but they're not giving up. And my mother gave up. Simple as that. So I don't want to be her. So I admire those people. But young people don't see that. They don't, all they see is the walker or the scooter or the cane. That's all. And I don't think a lot of them think about the fact that maybe someday that could be them
Hmm.
either.
I think they isolate them from away from that because they figure, oh, that's an old lady. I don't know why. Well, maybe we did too. Like, never thought that you would get that far.
Well, no, we did think that. We did think that. So, I mean, I have to be a little bit more fair to the younger generation.
Catherine sort of says, my daughter, who's 29, says, stay on top of technology, Mom, and the folks will not guess your age. And she's 71. Um, yeah, I think some people don't really keep up on technology. And I think it's in this environment or in this society, you need to sort of keep up on the technology.
Well, Catherine actually sums it up here. She says, Phyllis, just keep learning. I'm a great proponent of lifelong learning. I always figure that if you turn around and you say, well, that's not my cup of tea, I will never be able to handle it, then you're not challenging yourself, you're not stimulating your brain to keep yourself going. And that's what my mother did. We got her an iPad.
She decided she wanted an iPad.
Yeah.
So they got her one. But then she refused to use it.
All she was checking was weather on it, and then it was never charged up.
And it was like she was afraid of it. Like she didn't. She would flip it open, and if the weather page was on there, she'd look at it. But if it wasn't on there, she didn't know how to get it back. So, and she wouldn't try either.
And we would show her, and her attitude was, "Oh, I just don't understand that." In fact, now she's telling me, I don't understand it, but when the phone rings, I just get in a panic mode, and I don't know what to do. Well, give me a break. You refilling us?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to say, if I don't keep up on what's popular in music, this is back when I was much, much younger, I know I've gotten too old. Well, actually, you want to know something? I'm not that up on popular music because I don't like some of it. Maybe that does make me old. I don't know. But technology, yes, you have to stay up with the technology because it keeps changing. And we can't live in this world without the technology. Like, look at Facebook, as I was saying earlier. I didn't realize how addicted to Facebook I probably was until I lost it. And then I got it back, then I lost it. Then I got it back, then I lost it. Now I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And I'll just get my mindset that the world will continue to function without Facebook. Okay? It's not because I don't want to learn. It's because that is a form of technology that actually is a waste of time. Whereas there's other pieces of technology that are not. So those are the ones I should be concentrating more on than on the things that are more of a waste of my time and effort. But yeah, you got to keep learning all the time. And you got to keep your brain stimulated. Reading. Of course, I was an English teacher, so for me, books are important. But I also read, and I read every night before I go to bed, because that's the time that's best for me for that. Because I want to keep my brain stimulated. I've come in the last couple of years to appreciate documentaries because it's a form of learning, as far as I'm concerned. It's just not mindless entertainment, although some documentaries could be considered mindless entertainment. But again, it's just learning something new. It's like learning to quilt. I mean, I started quilting at 60. I wish I'd started much earlier in life, but I probably wasn't in a place for that earlier in life. In fact, I probably figured that quilting was something that old women did. Now I know it's something old men do too, but quilting keeps your mind stimulated too because there's mathematics involved in it. There's geometry involved in it. There's color theory involved in it. It's a fairly complex type of hobby when you start. You have some technology you have to learn as well with these new sewing machines and things like that. So, there's a whole lot of things involved in quilting that keep your mind going. And if your mind keeps going, your body will hopefully catch up to it. What are people saying here?
Phyllis says.
What? Well, finish the thought.
No, Phyllis says, I have a younger sister that considers the computer an intrusion.
Yeah, but I think that's an old person's way of thinking about computer technology. Because if you don't want to learn it because you think it's beyond you, then you might criticize it. Yeah, there's lots of things in technology to criticize. Like Preesi gave me a link to a couple of things about Alexa, and spying on you and things like that. And to be honest, I think she's right. Or those articles are kind of right too. But I'm not going to get that paranoid over it because so what? Let them listen. There's nothing there that I'm keeping a secret. Um, Phyllis says, Facebook keeps me in touch with my immediate family. I love it. My family's scattered overseas and in the States. Going public on Facebook's where you open a bucket of worms. Yeah, probably, but I had a select friends list. I had it all set up with, according to Facebook, safeguards for privacy. Well, look where that got me. Catherine says, Steve, in reference to Facebook, could you open an account under a pseudonym? Like my daughter had an account for her guinea pig, but it was her account. Just saying, trying something like that. I thought about that, but the problem still is the people that I know wouldn't know who I am. So I'd have to send a friend request to them. And
Maybe you should open one up as Stephen Vandergrant.
maybe then people who know us know who I am. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I've already said I'm not going to get involved with Facebook again. But then again, maybe never say never. But why me? I was going to do a search and I forgot to do it this afternoon. There's an assignment for you because you'd like to research. Find out, Google to see if other people have had this kind of problem.
Yeah, I was looking. There have been other people that have had similar problems. Yeah.
Did they have solutions?
No, I haven't really gone in depth and looked at it.
I mean, I can go in and create another account.
Well, the other thing you can do is they can send. Facebook wants you to give them to prove that you're actually a person.
And they want you to send official ID to them. I'm not sending them, and they want you to do it as a JPEG. They claim they'll encrypt it. I don't want to send them like my driver's license information or my passport information or that kind of stuff. I'm not sending that to them. They've already had breaches with their privacy. I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not sending them that kind of stuff. What people saying? Chris says maybe you have a cyber stalker. Okay, Phyllis has to go. Bye, Phyllis. See you later. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the effort to even worry about it. Because quite frankly, maybe this is an old person talking. Well, actually, young people aren't on Facebook. They've all gone to Instagram with it all. I think because their parents were all on it.
Yeah, their parents were on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, my sister suggested that I open an Instagram account. Well, Instagram is why?
a lot of people I know are on Instagram as well as Facebook, but actually I haven't really gotten into using that much.
Yeah, Catherine says all my art, fiber arts, etc. groups are through Facebook. That's the only place I go. I don't write on my wall or post pics or anything. Yeah, that's the one thing that bothers me is I belong to several groups on there and now they're gone. And in the old days, what I mean by that is pre-Facebook, groups used to set up web pages and you could go onto them from that. But now, because of the way Facebook was so easy to set up a group, they all do it on Facebook. Well, if you don't have access to Facebook, you can't see what's going on in them. Not that I belong to that many, but there's a couple there that I kind of didn't want to lose touch with, but I don't know. Maybe I'll go in and create another account. Problem is, to put my friends on it, I have to send them all requests. I've given them 3 requests now in the last 2 weeks. They're probably getting sick of that. So I think I'll just let it rest for a while.
Yeah.
And Chris has just started using Instagram, still trying to get her head around it. Yeah, so anyways, back to our ageism thing. I had some other things here. Okay, so I was going to say there's discrimination from a man's point of view and a discrimination from a woman's point of view. And what I mean by that is I think aging men are treated differently in our society than aging women. And I don't know if it's worse to be an aging woman than it is for a man. In some ways, I think it could be, in the fact that look at all the products out there that are supposed to help women stay young looking, like oil of old lady, all that kind of stuff that's out there. And, talking about rejuvenating your skin, look 20 years younger, look like you've had a facelift without actually having a facelift, and all that kind of stuff. And it's all lots of those. And then they show those celebrities who are like Ellen DeGeneres for CoverGirl. She's over 60 now, and like she's so made up.
And yeah, she's got it all troweled on so that it's like.
I mean, it reminds me of the old days of Max Factor, when RuPaul used to do commercials for Max Factor. And if you don't know who RuPaul is, he is.
Well, I thought it was MAC Cosmetics.
Or was it Mac?
Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever. On that, I don't buy a lot of cosmetics, so you can tell I'm a natural. He used to say, he was a drag queen, if it could make him look this good, think how good it would make a woman look, kind of a thing. Well, now Ellen DeGeneres is on there, and she's a lesbian. Not that that means anything, but you can tell that her makeup is all professionally done, and she's.
Well, I've seen pictures of her online that without her makeup on.
Yeah, scary.
It's pretty scary. Sort of like Oprah without her makeup on.
Oh, yeah, geez, Oprah's really scary without makeup. Well, quite frankly, a lot of women are kind of scary without makeup, but that's only because we're used to seeing makeup. That's probably offensive. Oh, well. But anyways, what I'm saying is all these products out there, there's probably more pressure on women to look younger than there is on men.
Well, it's all the cosmetic commercials and all the, the hair dye commercials and everything else.
Yeah.
So.
But on the other hand, when they talk about gyms, okay, and things like that, they show young guys with six packs, the whole bit, all tan, bronzed up, nice biceps, the whole bit, and pecs and whatnot. And like the reality is, older guys that are going to the gym don't probably look like that, and they're probably doing it because they're trying to at least, like, they've got a heart condition or something with it. But it's all geared towards, you're going to look the body beautiful. It's not going to happen.
Actually, I don't particularly sit down and watch Ellen either, so that's what Preesi says. Ellen, she's not an Ellen fan, too much marketing on her show.
Yeah, well, they got to make money
somehow. A lot
somehow.
of the shows, daytime shows, have a lot of marketing.
Oh, yeah. Look at The View the other day. We saw the tail end of The View, and I guess they have the deal of the day or something. And most of that was cosmetics, very expensive cosmetics. Well, you just have to walk into any store and go down the cosmetic aisles.
Phyllis says I don't send selfies with pics of what I'm eating, etc. Geez, I can't manage to break away. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't do selfies because I don't like the way I look.
No. Yeah, that's the other thing about the younger people. They've got this attitude that they're gorgeous. Okay, I'll give you this. Young people in this generation now, I think for the most part, probably are a little better looking than we were at their age. But why are they? Well, look at all the products out there that are geared to them. Look at their teeth, for one thing. They have great teeth. Why? Because dentistry's come a long way since our generation, for one thing. Also, the attitude of society, which is created by advertising, where they show everyone with sparkling white teeth. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because, looking after your teeth when you're younger means that by the time you get to our age, you may still have them, which is a good thing. But it's like that dazzling smile, the crest strips. Oh, look, we're going to the club tonight. We've got 30 minutes. Let's do our teeth, kind of stuff. But it's all geared towards looking young and beautiful. And these selfies that they all take, because they pose. It's not just taking, here I am in front of an attractive kumquat tree or whatever kumquats come on, kind of thing. It's, look at me. I'm posing, I'm beautiful, Vogue, 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 kind of a thing. That's their attitude. What about tattoos? Tattoos are a young people thing. And I think when they get to our age, they're going to regret that, especially the ones that cover their whole body in them. Because we all know you get to a certain age, you don't have the elasticity in your skin anymore, and things tend to sag. So some of those great tattoos that they're getting now that look so great, when they get to be 60 and their skin's kind of sagging, they're not going to look so good anymore. So, yeah, I think, well, then I think what's really sad, and I've seen this a lot lately, people our age who are going out and getting a tattoo. Why are they getting a tattoo? They'll tell you one thing, but I'll tell you why they're getting a tattoo, because the kids are getting tattoos. It's like dyeing their hair, the whole thing. They're getting a tattoo to be young, to be with it, to look cool. And I think someone in my age bracket going out and getting some big, huge, one of those tattoos that covers your whole arm, like you've got a glove on or something on that, I think it looks ridiculous. I really do. And I don't care if people go on about it being body art. It's art. It's art. Art belongs on a wall, not on a person's body. Just me. I don't know. I'm sure maybe other people have an attitude.
Well, Syracuse says, I'd like to kill the person who taught all the young girls to
Do
do
the sexy pout,
Sexy
when they,
pout, yeah.
when they take it. Oh yeah, and it's the over sexualization at this age too, at the younger age, which is different from us. Well, first of all, if you want sex over 60, you should pull over to the side of the road. That's a joke, an old one. Okay, they figure sex life dead. Well, okay, maybe it is, but yeah, but it's all hypersexualized, and that's where these girls get this attitude. Like in Toronto, the Toronto School Board just put in that there's no longer any dress code for kids in high school. The girls, they were interviewing the girls on TV about this, and they were so happy, and they were standing around with their little crop top, and it's cut down to here, and they got little cut off shorts because it's June and it's hot, and their butt cheeks are hanging out of those. They just look like streetwalkers, and they think that's sexy. And
Well, you had a note with the tattoo thing in here.
oh, did I? I figured I would. Okay, who are the old people on here that got a tattoo? Oh, Cindy says, I want to get a black fly tat on the back of my leg. Cindy, can I ask you a question? And this is not a criticism. I just want to know, why do you want to get that? And I'm not saying it, that I'm against it or anything like that. I'm just wondering why you want to get it. I know why I don't want a tattoo. One, I'm afraid of needles. And two, I guess I was always raised, my father used to say to me, you ever come home with a tattoo, I'm going to make you smoke a cigar, or something like that. And my dad was so against them.
I always remembered that there's people, when you move to Canada, you have to have a sponsor. My parents had sponsors, and the man, the guy that he had a tattoo done when he was 18, and he regretted having it done years later. And he says, as I got older, I absolutely hate this thing. He says he always tried his best. He was afraid to go short sleeve because he had this tattoo on his arm. He always wore long sleeves.
Yeah. Well, Mel says, I love tattoos and don't think it's only for young people. You just have to think what kind of tattoo you're having and which part of your body. Okay. I think that's true enough. I'll admit, I do have a prejudice about tattoos.
I've never really liked people with tattoos on their body, but I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
Oh, it's their body. They can do whatever they want. I guess, I don't know. Cindy says my answer is below. Where is your answer? What do you mean below? I just wonder, I know why young people get them, okay? Because it's trendy.
I went above, she said.
Oh.
This is why just cause.
Okay. Well, if it works for you, that's fine. Um, it's probably me, but I'll tell you this: if I see an older person, whether it's male or female, someone in my age group or more, who just got a tattoo somewhere on them, the first thing that goes through my head is, why? Why did you get that at this age? And the only answer that I can come up with it is because they're trying to recapture their youth. Now, that's why I asked the question. Why? I mean, if you got one when you're a young person and now you're in our age group and higher, well, you can't do much
Preesi
about
says,
that.
what did you feel about tattoos when you were 20? Actually, same as we do
Same as now. But like I said, my father.
So I did think about getting a nipple ring once.
Oh yeah, and I thought about getting my ears pierced too, or my ear pierced, and we got over that quick enough. But we were much younger when we were thinking about that. Actually, talking about
Kind of glad I'd never had it done. So
actually, I think what bothers me more than a tattoo is when I see a man in our age or older who's got an earring in. Because, over time, the whole idea of guys with earrings has had different connotations. I mean, there was a day and an age when if you saw a guy with an earring, a hoop in their ear, that meant they were probably gay. Then there was a whole thing about, well, is it in the right ear or the left ear? Because one ear meant gay, the other one meant straight. And there was all that. And then it's what I call the metalloids. The guys, into heavy metal and that, they get one. They get a dangly cross or something like that with it all. But I think when you're younger, you can get away with that kind of stuff. I think when you get into our age group, maybe this is making me sound like an old man.
you're an ageist.
Maybe I'm an ageist. I guess I am. I'm an ageist. Well, I am an ageist.
If somebody that's 80 wants to go get a tattoo.
Well, now, somebody 80, and it was some lady who's 80 years old, and depending on her personality, she says, life's too short. I'm going to try this. I'm going to get a butterfly on my butt. And you know what I would say? I'd say, you go, girl. I would. Because I guess it's the spirit of the whole idea going, what have I got to lose? You only live once.
Well, I mean, I suppose I always sort of thought, well, I didn't really want to get a tattoo when I was younger because what if I regretted it later on down the road type of thing. And if you're already down the road, what difference does it make?
Yeah, Cindy says, I don't have any tats because I do not like needles. That's me too. That's probably more of it than anything else, is that I don't like needles. Also, I mean, to me, tattoos, although I know they can remove them sort of now, but it's not that easy with it. I'm thinking, yeah, you might regret it down the road. You are basically marking your body up. Now, having said that, I am sure there are many cultures in the world where that is the norm. It's a rite of passage, and things like that to get tattooed.
And so Milliard says, but is it okay for older people to have lots of plastic surgeries trying to look like they're 18 years old?
It's not a question of whether it's right or wrong. It's why put yourself through that hell? What's the reason for that? Cosmetic surgery is to make you look better. Has anybody ever seen anybody, and I'm talking celebrities and that really that looked natural? You take all your skin, pull it up behind your ears, kind of a thing. I mean, all I can think of is this movie that we saw years ago called Brazil. And I don't know if anybody will know that reference or not, but basically, in part of it, it's a kind of a dark comedy kind of a thing. And there's one scene and then where they're getting facelifts and they're pulling it back, and it's hideous. It's meant for comedy.
Yeah, well, actually, if you see some of the Hollywood older people that have had a lot of facelifts, their skin's pulled so tight that it doesn't look good. I don't like that idea of modification either for just for the fact of trying to look younger.
Now, if you have a physical problem like a cleft palate or something wrong with your,
You know, you have burns
you
to
know,
your face.
maybe you
need
got a broken
reconstructive
nose at one time,
surgery
and it's,
or-
I can see the benefits of that. But just to go in because you want to look younger, I don't know about that. Now I'm seeing here said. Cindy says, I do not like full body tats no matter your age. I definitely don't like full body tattoos. I think those are hideous. Okay, if you get a little tiny butterfly or a heart or something like that, somewhere strategically placed, I mean, that's not so bad. But a lot of these people are getting like massive tattoos because they want to stand out from the crowd. Well, if everybody's doing that, you don't stand out anymore, do you? So I don't know. I heard somebody say once, though, eventually when all these people get into the nursing home, they'll be able to identify their dead bodies by their tattoos. There'll be identifications for it. Kind of morbid, but Mel says, but it's okay when older people have lots of plastic surgery. Oh, I was skipping down. Preesi says, I'll throw a wrench in this conversation. Well, you just wouldn't be Preesi if you didn't, dear. I think some tattoos are a form of cutting, a way to cause pain to oneself, like body modification and plate piercing. Plate piercing.
You
Never
know,
heard.
people that just put stuff through their genitals.
Oh,
And stuff like that.
and you know this how?
I've seen it on TV.
Oh, yeah, yes, what you say. Okay. Yeah, that could be. B&D says, oh, hi, B&D. I think older people often get tattoos, etc., because there's no parental restraint. I actually know a few folk who have gone down the road of tattoos, piercing, etc. Their parents died. That's an interesting thought. Hadn't thought about that, but you know, I think there may be something to that. When is it that you're no longer influenced by your parents? Okay. I'm still influenced by my mother. As much as I try not to be, I still am. She still has a control over me. And until the day she dies, that will always be there. So you're saying that maybe it's a form of senior rebellion, which suggests a youthful outlook on things, being
It
rebellious.
says something about, and it was a shame that Joan Rivers had to die having her umpteenth plastic surgery.
Yeah, to me, people who get plastic surgery simply for plastic surgery have a self-image problem. And I think people who get a ton of tattoos have something like that. I mean, if you get one, you get two, they're little, they're discreet. I mean, okay.
I mean, I mean, the aging process, a lot of people don't want to go the aging process and stuff, but I mean, to get you so many plastic surgeries that you begin to look bizarre, then it's the other extreme. They think they get so wound up at trying to look young that it ends up backfiring in the long run.
But that's where I go again back to ageism in the media. Movies, advertisement, television shows. It's all the body beautifuls. They're all youngish. Even when they depict older people, those older people are usually, unless they're purposely having a character that's on Skid Row or something like that, the older people all seem to be with it, have money, and are very youthful looking, nice clothes, the whole bit. Everything in our society is geared towards the youth, and this is not a revelation.
No,
We've
and
known
also
this
like
forever.
a lot of the plastic surgeries that occur in Hollywood are mostly they tend to be mostly women.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying back to where I started with this, the whole thing about the difference. Ageism is different for women than it is for men. I think it's harder for women because I think society puts too much of a burden on women to look a certain way. And as women get older and aging, then they talk about women aging as being mature look, being more sophisticated and a whole bit. Yet when they're saying that, they've got the oil of old lady sitting right there, or the rejuvenating Revlon with KP 25 and pig fat that's going to make you look really gorgeous in all of it. So it's a mixed message. They're saying in the ads, oh, there's nothing wrong with growing older, but you do it by looking youthful. Well, that seems to be a dichotomy here, you know? Those are two opposite things with it. We can't stop the aging process, no matter what. Um, I think women have it worse. Men, okay, so little pudgy here, all right, right? Well, women say, I know what my mother used to say about my father until later in life. Then she was getting really pissed off that he was getting kind of tubby with that. My father was a stocky man. He was built like me. Okay, I prefer the word stocky as opposed to fat. Okay, I'm pleasantly plump. My mother used to say, oh well, your father worked hard for this and everything, and it's okay. Well, then later on she was constantly on his back about not eating this and that. Well, she was down in the my mother's got a hyperactive thyroid, so I mean, and she hardly eats anyways, so she's as skinny as a rail. But women will often say about men, well, like, I've kept him well fed, or he's content. In the Middle Ages, women looked for heavy men as possible partners because heavier the man meant more prosperous he was. He'll be a good provider because it cost a lot of money to eat that much in the whole bed. So there you go. It's the same reason why men used to look to women with big childbearing hips and ample bosoms, because that meant they were probably good breeding stock and would be able to have lots of children that could look after them all in their old age, and better chance of survival rate with the kids. So here we are. We've gone the other way in society. If you're not a toothpick, if you're not a size 00 for women at any age, you're fat. Men can get away with a little bit more. But that's changing too. The gap between those two things, I think, is narrowing. Especially now when you walk into all the men's stores, as I said before, and everything is slim fit. Well, I can't fit into that crap. No matter what I do, I can't fit into that crap. And
even if you want to buy it, you can't buy it because
no. And you look at some of the older men that we know that are skinny as a rail, and they look like skeletons because you've lost all the elasticity in your skin. It just hangs on you. So I don't know. I'd rather be a little bit more stocky and plump so it stretches the skin out a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what you say.
Yeah, well, I have lost weight before.
Yeah.
Lots of weight before, and you start to get these jowls and everything, like turkey thing, gobble, 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 back and forth. I don't know. But then again, you see, product of the age. That made me look older. I don't know.
Syracuse says there's a reason why God invented gravity. No amount of plastic surgery can compete.
No, gravity's
And
not
then
your
Preesi
friend.
says in 6,000 years, aliens will land on the Earth, dig in the forest lawn cemetery, and find 7-foot-long boxes with 2 silicone bags and two silicone ducklets.
And confused at what our planet was all about. That's pretty funny, actually. That set up a visual. But the problem in the UK we have at the present is our Prime Minister is being chosen by 0.2%, majority of which are over 65 years of age. Which is funny because in this country the young people don't vote.
Yeah.
It's the older people that go out to the polls. The younger people have no concept. They don't care. And they should. Now, they might be caring right now in our province because they're fighting Ford because he's cut way back on their grants and loans for university and everything, and claims that he's going to drop tuition, but that's not going to happen. Preesi says, now we have the people of Walmart. Yeah, well, that's not necessarily ageism, that's just bad taste in there, the people of Walmart. Hey, that might be a topic for another week. People of Walmart, fashion senselessness. I don't know
What
which.
people wear out to shop in.
Yeah. So let's okay. We've been talking about all the negatives. Okay, about the difference between being younger and older. Let's talk about the positive things about getting older. Okay?
It says in Australia, everyone has to vote. If you don't vote, you get fined.
Oh, that's good.
Actually, that is.
They should do that here. Australia does a lot of cool things. I mean, they're a little bit racist. There about their in terms of their immigration policy, but then again, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because look what happened to us. But that's a topic for another day. And we'll put that on the books for it. But what I was going to say is, what are the positive things about getting older that the young people don't see? One, financial stability. Maybe not all the time, but generally speaking, I think most people, if they had a decent career, if they did some planning when they were younger, young people don't seem to plan for these things, then yeah, like I said, I went out and bought $253 worth of fabric on Friday. Am I eating craft dinner now? No, I do love craft dinner.
Actually, I do have a comment here. Meliart says it's not only men who define how women should look, it's also gay men who do that. Almost every TV show has some gay man style guru, and their object is always women and how they should look. However, I think you're overcompensating on that, because the it's not all gay men that do that. It's they're picking shows that make gay men look like they're doing
Like
that.
Queer Eye, that one is always making people over now, supposedly, and everything. That's a stereotype that gay
Yeah.
men want to do your makeup.
No,
Okay.
that is like personally, I think I think women look like we're talking about all the facelifts and stuff. An older woman who is dressed nice, right, and even if they're all wrinkled and whatever, however, can look very sophisticated and sexy as an older woman. You don't have to have the facelifts and all that other stuff.
Well, look your age. Like you said, there was a woman
Yeah.
you used to work with who has long hair and it's gray. And it makes her look like she should be riding on a broom.
Well, yeah, well, okay. For instance, women in gray hair. A lot of women color their hair, right? And a lot of women have gray hair as well. But the problem ends up, gray hair looks fine on a woman. In fact, in some ways, it's your natural color as you get older. And but then some women wear gray hair in a way that makes them look ugly, right? Like, for instance, this lady I know, she has very long gray hair, and she keeps it nice and that, but it just doesn't. I think gray hair should be short. I just don't think it should be.
Yeah,
long.
long gray hair on
But that's my
anybody,
opinion.
men or women. There are men. Look at
Yeah, men
look at my
that have
color.
long hair.
Okay. If I was to let my hair grow long, I don't think so. I had long hair as a kid in high school, down like, because that was the fashion. It was the 70s after all, and the whole bit. And I remember having a fight with my father to let my hair grow at the time because he wanted it shaved right off. But, I was able to fight and get that in. But I would never consider letting my hair grow that long now, because that would just look like I'm somebody living off the street kind of a thing. I do sometimes think, oh, this is going to get me in so much trouble. I do think sometimes that men are better at dressing women and doing their makeup than women are themselves. And I think the reason for that might be because men look at it from a different perspective than a woman does. I think a woman looks at what the advertising and what other women are doing. I think what a man does, I could be wrong about this, is looks at the individual and says, what will suit you? Because, and why do I say this? My example, hairdresser. When I go to my hairdresser, there's always somebody walks into the store, into the shop, and has a picture and says, I want this hairdo. And you always see the hairstylists, the hairdressers, cringe. And I've talked to my hairdresser about this before, and the reason they cringe is because they look at it and realize what this person is saying is, I want to look like this person in the picture. And if you cut my hair that way, I'm going to look like that. And we all should know that that's not going to happen. And usually they have picked a hairstyle that they can't, because of their face shape or whatever, they can't do. So the poor hairdresser And I know I've heard them. I've said to them, really, your face is more heart shaped than pear or something, and maybe it would look better if we just did. Maybe we could take that basic, and they're trying to soft sell it. Like, what they're not saying is, look, honey, you're never going to look like that in 1,000 years. Why don't we work with something that, will suit you? But some of them don't want to take that advice from a professional. So
It's sort of like if let's say you had dark hair all your life, right, and then you get older, people don't realize that your skin tone gets lighter, and so older people are going in and getting their hair dyed black. Well, then they look like a ghost with black hair. And not just saying women do that, men do that too.
Yes.
Men do that too.
Oh, we got a guy down the street that's wearing a really bad tube. And it's so obvious. It's like the Three Stooges called They Want Moe's Hair Back. That's how bad it is. But, yeah, so men do the same thing, like coloring your hair. I tried it once. Actually, I tried it twice. I went in, and I was going this color since I was in my mid-20s with it. I don't even know what my natural color was anymore. It's always been this. My father did the same thing. His went this way as well. I don't mind it. But there was a point where I was thinking, probably back when I was, in my late 30s or whatever, where I went into my hairdresser and said, okay, I want to dye my hair, but I don't want it to look like it's dyed. So she mixed up like 4 combinations of color or something like this, ash and something else. And when she was done putting it all in and went through that whole thing, I got home. Nobody even noticed that I had my hair dyed because it looked the same.
Even I didn't notice.
Yeah.
So Preesi says my dad's toupee fell off on Magic Mountain at Disney World.
So he flipped his lid on the mountain, eh? That's what I'd be afraid of with all of that. But then I tried hair, or what was that hair color for in a box? Hair
no.
for men, or not?
No,
hair for
no,
men,
nice, no, not nice.
nice,
Easy.
no,
No,
something like that. But
it was that stuff that you just put on.
you just put in, brush it through, shower it out, and I tried that. Well,
Grecian formula.
Grecian formula. I tried Grecian
I don't even
formula.
know if they still sell that.
No, well, yeah, I tried that once. I went, no good. Because basically, it makes your hair all sticky, even after you've washed it out and the whole bit. And it's horrible stuff. Whatever. But I guess I was going through a stage. It was probably my very early 40s or something, midlife crisis, where I thought I needed to look. My hair was going this color, and I needed to look young again. Yeah. No, gave that up.
Inviting Thought said her husband is trying to grow his hair long now. But isn't he transsexual?
Yeah, well, it's just my husband wants me to do his makeup. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean...
I don't want to offend anybody by this, but, and I'm all I support the transgendered community fully. I
think it's difficult for somebody that's was living a man all their life and then
switch over and try and look
to look a woman that's passable.
Because men don't, like, a lot of transgendered men, the
people that were living in a male body or whatever,
they're not doing very well. I swear there's a whole industry out there to help transgendered people with their makeup, clothing choices, hairstyles, and the whole bit, to really help them out. Because not some, a lot of the ones that I have seen in our community out here basically look like a guy in a dress. And I don't think that's what they're going for with it. So good for you, Chris. I'm glad that you're so supportive of your husband and the whole bit. That's great with it, because I think a lot of transgendered people just don't have that support.
Well, no, Inviting Thoughts says men want to dye their hair, they should woman's hair dye package. Actually, I've seen men get bad dye jobs in salons. There's a salon I go to, and there's this older East Indian guy. It seems to be in there every time I go in there, and he has his hair dyed pitch black. And I've heard this hairstylist say, well, you really should go a shade lighter, like, or something like this, right? But he refuses. No, that's the hair color I had when I was a kid. That's what I want now.
Yeah, but as you said, your facial tone and everything changes as you get older too.
So now he walks around and it really looks like he's got dyed hair. I mean, if that old anyway, probably do have dyed hair, but there's a guy at the gym that I go to. He has a spray tan on. He's got to be 70. He's got, if not older.
Oh, is he orange?
He's orange. He's got a spray tan on. His hair is dyed pitch black, right? He's very wrinkly, and
Well, that happens.
and he wears like a ton of gold chains.
Hello, the 70s called. They want Mr. T back.
It just looks ridiculous. Like, I mean, to me, okay, he feels he's doing useful or whatever, but I think there's things that he could do to make himself look more, look better.
But yeah, okay. Here we go though. Looking better. Does that mean looking younger? Or does that mean looking appropriate for your age, but with some flair?
That's what I'm saying.
Or a little
yeah.
style. And here's the problem with that is, I think that's the way most of us would like to go. But you gotta find someone who's going to sell you the products that fit for that. Like I said,
And you also
men's
have
clothing
to
stores don't do that.
you also have to be on the receiving end willing to try that too.
Yeah. But the clothes that are out there for men, and I imagine women have this problem too, as older women as well. I mean, look at what the kids are wearing today. Young people are wearing. When I say young people, I mean the 20s, the 30s, and stuff like that in women's fashion. It's cut down to here. It's cut up to here. It's skin tight and the whole bit. And let's face it, when you're over 60, you probably don't have the body that's going to fit into that kind of stuff at all. In fact, it doesn't. Some of that stuff doesn't even look good on young girls either. It's the same with men. You know, the skinny jeans. Yeah, right. I can't get hardly into the jeans I've got now, and they're not skinny. I buy relaxed fit, which is just a fancy way of saying it's got elastic in it. You know, like it'll stretch with you.
Nobody looks as fabulous as Goldie Hawn. I don't know.
I don't know.
Goldie Hawn's face doesn't look all that great.
Death
these days.
Becomes Her. You ever seen that movie? She's in it.
Her,
Check it out
Her
sometime.
skin is pretty stretched.
Men's hair dye takes 5 minutes and costs $5. Women's takes 25 to 90 minutes and costs $20, I think.
I'm not sure where you shop.
Well, I don't know. I haven't gone out and bought.
I haven't looked at men's hair dye. This is my natural color.
Well, I also heard somewhere or read somewhere that men's hair is different, takes dye differently than men's hair or women's hair for some reason. I think it has to do with hormones or something. I don't know. Andy says, I want to start a YouTube channel called What Were They Thinking and have videos of people wearing clothes they have no business wearing. Well, that's just the people of Walmart. And there's lots of YouTubes about that. Okay, Cindy, see you later. I don't know. But anyways, I was talking here about the positive things about growing older. So I said financial stability. Let's not forget about retirement, right? You worked all your life, and hopefully you're in a position like we are, where you can retire when you can still move. Respect. Do we get it? Depends where we are.
Depends on how much money you think.
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna-
get a lot when you spend money, I know that. But you get discounts in certain stores. They're not great.
Well, no, actually, they're pretty lousy.
Yeah, what are the negatives about getting older? Well, your health, of course. Okay, you just don't have the body of a 20-year-old. I'd like to say I have the body of a 20-year-old, but I'm abusing it and he wants it back. Lifestyle changes. Okay, so when things happen in your life when you're older, they're both negative and positive. Sometimes lifestyle changes can be a positive thing. But other times, lifestyle changes, when we talk about those, could be downsizing your house, moving into a retirement facility, moving into a nursing home, all those kind of things. You know, it's sad to say, but with each lifestyle change you make that changes your living environment, it's one more step towards the grave. That's a cheery thought. Not. You may have the money and the time to do the things you didn't have the money and time to do before. Again, everybody's financial situation is a little different. But I mean, we're able to travel when we want to and where we want to within reason. But we plan for that. So that's a positive.
Syracuse says, I want to start a YouTube channel called What Were They Thinking?
Yeah, I just read that. Where were you?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, another thing about disadvantage of growing older is that you end up repeating yourself.
Well, I wasn't listening to him. So.
Yeah, okay, that too. Selective hearing. Andy says, you don't have to do what other people. Great.
You don't have to do what you don't have to do what other people do. Probably.
I guess that's what that means. Yeah. Yeah, true. But go back onto Facebook and check it out. The older people on there, it's all up. Some of them are doing we just went here. We went to the south of France. Oh, really, darling? Yes, we were there last season. Didn't really like it. We prefer Spain. It's this up.
What other people tell you to do.
Oh, other people do. I don't know. I still have people telling me what to do. So that doesn't end. Having the time to do things you want to do. Yes, as long as you're taking advantage of that time. Sometimes older people just sit in front of the television set too. So, you never know. So the other thing I was going to say too is, all right, so we know that it's difficult to grow old, whether you're a woman or a man. I think women have it a little bit harder than men do, but not as hard as gay men do. Okay? And being Pride weekend in Toronto, I just thought I'd touch on this lightly. We live in a world, in the gay world, where it's all geared towards the youth. All you have to do is turn on the TV and watch the gay pride parade in Toronto, and it's all the body beautifuls on the floats that are going down the street that all have their shirts off and six packs and the whole bit. And they will all turn around and they look at us older men and just think, well, one, we might be daddies to them, meaning that they think we have money and we'll spend it on them. Or two, we're just old, decrepit, and we should be dead with it all. And we get this all the time in the gay world. And it is a major problem in the gay world. It puts a lot of people into depression. Like suddenly they're 40 and nobody wants them around because they're considered old. And there's shows on TV that show older gay men and this life that they're supposedly leading, which is so wonderful and the whole bit. That's made up. That is really made up. We know older gay men who basically are still trying to live a lifestyle of someone 20 years younger than them. And in some ways that's sad. I mean, great, they're out there doing things, that's a good thing. But you're still going to be a 60-year-old man, if you get what I mean with that. So, age appropriateness, that's a term that's being used a lot these days. Age appropriateness. Not sure what it is that's appropriate or not, but I guess. Old people who are hard of hearing and don't do anything about it really annoys me.
Huh?
Well, yeah. Yeah, right, yeah. There's one there. KB, maybe they don't want to hear other people talking. Yeah, I call that selective hearing. My father had that when my mother used to talk. Then they shouldn't try to converse with me. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what to
Actually,
say
one
to that
thing
one,
that's
but-
hard is I always have it. It's not an old thing either. Is if it's really loud, if you're in a bar or something, it's really loud and somebody's talking to you, rather than saying, "Huh, pardon me, listening there," I'll just look like I understand what they're saying.
Yeah, Julie says, for your information, lots of bright reflections coming from Steven's side of the pit. Yeah, it's the way the sun is going through and it's coming through our lattice. And yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah, so the last thing I had on ageism was basically, to sum it up, call age is about attitude, and we've all heard people say that, right? But I think there's such a thing as an appropriate attitude as well. I mean, maybe it's a defeatist attitude, but I look at it this way. I can't do anything about my age. It's a natural progression in life. Yeah, do I wish I was 20 years younger? With the knowledge I have today, yes, I wish I was. But that's not going to happen, is it? Um, so I could curl up in a ball and just die, or like go around, and I've watched a lot of people do this where they go, well, I'm old, I can't do that anymore. No, that's the wrong attitude. Yes, physically, sometimes you can't do anything about the health. It's harder to walk. You're not as active as you were when you were younger, maybe, things like that. I get that. But I think you have to have age appropriate attitude too, because do you want to look, well, maybe you do. Maybe this is an attitude. People talk about a youthful attitude. I'm not sure what that is. Does that mean going out and dressing in slim fit things, trying to pour yourself into a crop top, whatever? Going out and getting every tattoo there is on your body and everything pierced. I don't know if that's age appropriate. At the same time, you don't need to sit around curled up on the couch watching TV, eating soft foods, and bundled up in a blanket all the time either. I guess it's up to the individual how they look at age.
Here, Catherine Warbeck's, you read that.
Older lady, 83 years young, had to leave her 62 and older apartment complex because her husband wasn't of age. He's 38, and they moved into my complex, no age restrictions. Okay.
Okay, well, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think that's necessarily bad, but I don't know.
Does he at 38 want to live at 62 and older apartment? Of course, if he's married to us 83-year-old.
Yeah, to me, it's like waiting for her to kick off and hope, is she got money? I don't know. That's a whole different topic, cougars, the whole bit in there. I don't know what to say about that kind of stuff because, I don't know. I don't know what that would be. When I see in the gay world, when I see an older gay guy with a much younger gay guy, well, we do have a prejudice. Usually you figure, okay, what's the young guy seeing in the old guy besides dollar signs? Maybe not.
Or the really old guy with the really young Asian woman would call male or
bride. Mail order brides, kind of thing. So I don't know. Preesi says Golden Girls. Chris says maybe there's also a little jealousy and ageism. Maybe younger people wish they had the time we now have. Do you think? I don't know if maybe some do, but I don't think any of them are that clever and that so forward thinking about it all. Because when you're young, you're never going to get old, right? You're going to live forever, like the song says. At least I think I thought that way when I was younger. I mean, I do remember, and I'm kind of embarrassed about this now, but I do remember looking at people who might have been only 10 years older than me and figuring they were over the hill and they didn't know anything. Like I said, when I was in my 20s and possibly early 30s, I was as bad of all these sins that I've already mentioned with young people. So I don't know. Andy says, to me, a youthful attitude means you're still open to learning and trying new things. I would agree with that, Andy. That's the way I would, within reason, with it, I guess. And Catherine says, I wonder, he needed a green card, which he just acquired. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, so that's, I suppose we could go on for days about ageism, but we won't anymore. So just quickly, what are we watching? Well, speaking of ageism, Tales of the City by Amistad Maupin. He wrote a series of books. He's a gay author. They've done it over the years many times, actually. They've made movies out of some of his books. But the latest one is playing on...
Netflix.
Is it Netflix? Netflix. It's well worth the watch. And it's called Tales of the City. And, of course, Handmaid's Tale's in third season, and I think we're up to, the fourth episode or something?
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. And we just started watching the second season of Dark, and it's been such a long time since I've
It's on Netflix as well.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah. Dark is on Netflix.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
What? Oh, no, we're watching it on FX on the
No,
Android.
we don't have XFX.
No, but we have a box.
No, we weren't. You were watching.
Oh, that was Pose. Oh, yeah, okay. That's right. Dark is on Netflix.
Speaking of things, mine's going.
Oh, eat me. Yeah, Dark. It's dark.
It's a time travel.
Kind of a time travel thing.
I was actually, I didn't tell you about a lot earlier. Last night,
here we go.
I went online and read the synopsis for the whole first season, which we watched, but I couldn't remember anything of. And
Old age.
Yeah. And it's very, as I recall more now as I was reading it, it's very complicated because there's like different characters and different time periods.
So everything. Anyways, it's an interesting show, but you have to watch it from season 1. They just started season 2. And it's very complex to explain.
It's their first German production. It's it doesn't have subtitles. It's been dubbed and everything. So it is kind of interesting.
But yeah, and I just started watching. He hasn't seen it yet. I just watched the first episode of it, called Pose. And Pose, you have to have FX to watch it, or we have other means, but I'm not going to get into those right now. But how we do it. But it's basically about something they called the house ball culture, which back in the 80s, it's mostly about black people in the gay community, but they used to have these dances. Actually, I think they still have them. And this is where voguing came from. If you remember Madonna and Vogue and the whole bit, this is where this all came from. They actually do dance moves and things where they're like runway models, but they also had houses, like based on the idea of fashion houses, like, you know, the House of Chanel, all that, Gucci, stuff like that. Well, it's kind of interesting. I've only seen the first episode, but I've been reading good things about it. It's got fairly high ratings on it, but it's on FX. I'm not sure what other stations it might be on, but that's how we get it anyways. But kind of interesting. So we haven't been to a show in a while, nothing new on YouTube. We went to a steampunk festival yesterday in the town next door to us. It wasn't huge, but it was interesting, and there was a couple of authors there that have written books in the sort of the murder mystery steampunk Victorian kind of thing. So I bought the first book from each one of these authors online. Actually, they were pretty cheap. They're ebooks. On my Kobo, I think one was $3.56, the other one was $4 and something. I read the preview on one of the books. It sounded kind of interesting. So I forget what they're called now. When I get more into them,
Preesi says, I watched a fascinating documentary on Jay Allah in Florida, LA.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Is that on a particular network or?
Yeah, 'cause I don't know. This name is nothing to me. I don't know what that is. But anyways, I'll look it up and figure that one out. Anyways, next weekend is Canada Day weekend. It's a long weekend. It's our, I hate to use an equivalent because we do this all the time with Americans, but it's our Independence Day. But it's not. Canada Day is something a little bit different.
JLA is a sport.
Oh.
Actually, I think I did actually hear about that.
I'll look that up and see what that's all about. Anyways, that's next weekend, but we'll be on our usual time. We're going to a party on Canada Day, which is actually the Monday. I'm excited. We don't get invited to parties often. So, we're going to a party. Yay! I think it's pronounced Hi LA.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, yeah.
It's like La Jolla when we were in La Jolla.
Oh, La Jolly?
La Jolla.
La Jolla? Yeah. Oh, all right. It's like jalapenos. Anyways, okay, so that's it, people. That's our time for today. So I'm not sure what our topic will be next week. If you've got some suggestions, put them in the comments below or email me for things. And thanks for participating today, because I think it makes it a little bit more interesting when you participate. And so we'll see you next week. My vlog will be up tomorrow at some point in time. And have a good week. And enjoy the rest of the weekend. If it's a weekend for you, in Australia it's Monday. And we'll see you all later. So Bye bye for now. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.